Hey you guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So we have the review today for the HSP Boxer. This is the Jeep version. They also have a pickup version. Who wants to buy one? Well, go online to rchobbysoutlet.com if you live in Canada and you can purchase one of these. Otherwise, I'm sure Amazon probably has these things and many other places too that sell HSP products. Anyways, but first you got to hear this review and then decide if you still want to buy it or not. Okay, so let's pop the hood. Woo, that's simple. Really good Lexan body. Really impressed with this material. They've stepped up their game. They've also gotten into the game of trail truck crawlers, or they like to call this a crawler. They don't even say the word trail truck anywhere. So they call it a crawler, and they are so incorrect. Okay? Anyhow, so we've got an ESC that's brushed, runs 2S or 3S, or a 6-cell NIM pack. Woohoo! And it comes with a 6-cell NIM pack with a Molex Tamiya old-fashioned connector that should have been extinct decades ago. Okay? Dean's or Traxxas and newer plug styles is where it's at. So anyways, I decided to take my battery that came with this thing and use it in my Tamiya TT01 race car, and that's where it's going to get used. Now I don't have to go and spend 18 bucks and buy one. I got one now. Anyways, so I'm running a 2-cell 6300 mAh 35C discharge ZOP power LiPo battery in this thing. Works great. Okay, tons and tons and tons of runtime. Although today I only got 10 minutes out of it when I was crawling and shooting videos for you guys of this truck over at the Cove in North Bay. Did a few challenges. Some succeeded, some failed. And of course we have our big failure at the end where I actually shattered my servo steering horn. It literally did shatter, by the way. There's pieces missing. So pretty crappy servo horn. Great servo though, metal geared, 15 kilogram. Everything electronic on this truck is fully waterproof according to specs. So feel free to drive it in the lake and drive it right back out again. Anyways, the tire compound is way too soft. Even without the battery in there, this thing's got some weight to it. But once you get that battery in there, it will squat the front end down a little bit in the stock position for the front shocks. I had to actually bring the back shocks all the way up, which lowers it, and it's still not low enough, as you saw when before I pulled the body off. It does sit kind of high still on the back, which is kind of a good thing in a way, but very bad in this case because there's no bloody weight on the back. So it's real easy to stop abruptly and go, wah! You know, or go down a steep grade and go, wah! Going up, you do enough bouncing, and you'll definitely be doing this and doing the twist at the same time. So it's kind of like dancing on rocks. So yeah, battery placement though, good place though, but it would have been better in the center, of course, so it evenly pushed down on everything. That would have been a big bonus. Now, SCX10 first gens, the battery was in the back, so you had lots of rear traction, but the problem is you were way too easy to go wing like that, right? So people wanted to move it more up front, either go crosswise with the battery or move their whole battery box up front. We modded stuff, right? SCX10-2s, the battery is now in the front. Okay, good place for the battery, but what about the rear weight now? Without the rear weight, you have no traction, okay, for any kind of a steep incline. And you have extremely sucky torque. They say this is a high torque motor. Okay, if you are running high wheel speed, it's got lots of torque. Because, yeah, it's going to be hard to stop this thing. But at low speeds where you should be crawling up rocks, it takes a lot of throttle to actually get any torque out of this motor, okay? It's geared a little bit too high. It's an 18-tooth pinion to an 87-tooth spur, which is a bad mix for crawler setup. Now, I would have thought that HSP would have done enough research to find this out before they got into the game, but apparently somebody was asleep at the wheel, okay? Same as when they decided that, soft compound is a really awesome idea. Axials come with that. Well, you know what? Most ready-to-run tires, guys, we all know, suck. With the exception, of course, my TRX stock tires are pretty darn good, and so are my new Chinese aftermarket ones. They're pretty good, but the stock ones are actually still better. So, but hey, it depends on what you're going on for surface too, right? These tires, they can kick up sand pretty good if you want to do some pulsing of the trigger, do some spin out donuts, but you're going to flip the truck real easy. A very narrow wheelbase, which is common for an SCX-10 style vehicle, is to have a narrow wheelbase, you know, left to right. But you shouldn't have too soft of a compound in your tire, because what happens is the more pressure that goes down on your tire, the more it squats, but then it actually starts to cave in on itself in the middle, so you only get outside edging, which is like no traction. So what are you doing? Like, you're not getting traction. You need a stiffer compound. You also need stiffer foams, which would help too. Even the same compound with some stiffer foam would help drastically with these tires, and they might actually be really awesome tires just by changing the foam. But who really wants to boil their tires off the rims unless you're going to use these tires on a set of beadlocks after? Then okay, I'd say do it. Otherwise, get yourself some new tires, get some, you know, good foams with them, and some weighted beadlocks would definitely help, because you're going to need some weight, but you also need back weight because there's too much here. You're going to want to have to change the suspension on this because it sucks. This is a monster truck suspension. This is not a crawler. This isn't even a trail truck suspension. Trail truck suspensions, the shocks are much shorter generally, and definitely a lot softer springs too. These are very stiff and they're linears, and linear springs tend to be much more stiffer than progressive. See, a progressive rate spring, on the top, the coils are tighter, and then going near to the bottom, they get wider, so you get softer to harder, right? That's actually a good thing for a crawler, to be honest. You know, especially a crawler trail truck setup, okay? In this case, they went full linears, and they went with very long shocks. These are like 100 millimeter at least, okay? So I gotta buy a set of 80s, set of 90s, but more of a crawler type shock too. Full metal bodies is what I'm after, and we're going to try two different sets and see which one wins. Whichever one wins stays on the truck. The set that doesn't win, I'll put in my collection and save it for another vehicle, I guess, because I'm going to be buying more vehicles. Speaking of which, I got 2 new vehicles coming this week, so do keep an eye on the channel for those. And when I get time to do some videos of running footage, I will. Been really busy at work. I haven't, like, this is my first, like, you know, in a while where I've had, like, off early on the end of the week and have my weekend to myself type of thing. So it's been kind of nice. I got to go out and spend the whole day today out North Bay crawling with my wife. She took her Gen 8 Red Cat out, her new toy and baby, and she's still looking up mod parts. She's got the bug, you know, so that's kind of good. She really loves that truck. I actually like it too. I think it's great. I actually drove it around just while I was waiting for her to come down the hill there. I figured, well, what's she going to do to me, you know? I got her truck. But no, I wouldn't mind actually doing some crawling with her truck if she'll let me. I'm sure she might. That means I got to give her the trigger to the Traxxas, but that's okay. And you know, you never know. If I get hooked on a Red Cat Gen 8, I'll buy the orange one, because who wants 2 blue trucks in the same household, right? I don't. And I kind of like the orange one too. It's kind of nice. But who knows what's going to happen. I do have plans for other vehicles, don't worry. I am definitely going RC happy. So to my RC fans, I am so sorry that I haven't been doing a lot of RCing. I have been putting a lot of money into music gear, and I finally got everything I'll ever need and want in life, so now we're going back to RC's full out force from this point on. Yes! Okay, so that just made everybody in the world happy. I can see that right now. The smiles on your face are a mile wide. Now, you guys know I'm brutally honest when it comes to reviews. Even when I'm doing them for companies, I don't beat around the bush on stuff. So I'm going to flat out this for you, okay? If you are looking to buy this as a crawler because it's advertised that way, don't do it. Unless you're prepared to spend money like I now have to. Now, I kind of had a half idea what I was into, but kind of also didn't at the same time, because it's a new truck, no experience with it, but I thought, hey, that kind of looks a lot like an SCX-10, but it should have some potential. And it does have a lot of potential, and that's the trick. I am running my original TRX4 front and rear bumpers on this thing, okay? They're plastic, of course. They are the same widths as the stock HSP ones. It's like, yes! Okay, now, I did have to use my mounts, I got a metal one on the front, plastic one on the back, because the only reason I got this metal one here is because I upgraded already like that fast on the TRX. It's like they had this copper one at Banggood that was like really super heavy, and it's got a servo mount, so I figured, let's move the servo up front. Yes. Let's add some weight because we need some. Yes. Okay, and that thing's working out right sick. I was so impressed with how my truck did overall today. So this lighter aluminum one came off, so I got to get another one now for the back. So you can use Traxxas TRX and Axial parts on this truck. You are not a slave to HSP completely. As far as spurs go, I don't know what we're going to have for aftermarket spurs. I have to look into that myself, including pinions, to work with this transmission. I have not had that part yet, so I have no idea what's really going on there yet until I get some parts together. I think I have a spur that it's definitely it's going to be a 32 pitch, but I really don't want to go 32 pitch gearing on this, but I might have to. You never know, just to try it. Anyways, so out of the box you do have 4-link front and back, all metal, thick too. Okay. I wonder if these are stainless steel. I've got a magnet around here, or if they're just regular steel. Regular steel, guys. But that's okay. They're still steel. Now that you don't get unless you buy an Axial SCX-10 2 for about 400 bucks. All right, this is 235 bucks. The yokes are steel, okay, where they join at the diff as well as on the shaft. The main shafts themselves are plastic, but they are steel yokes at either end, which is good. You have bevel geared diffs in this, permanently locked, of course, right? So for those of you who like to run locked diffs all the time, they're permanently locked. Same with your steering. Your steering is actually all metal as well, okay, right out of the box, except for the servo horn. That I shattered, so I had to actually take a servo horn that I had. I've got a couple more of these, and I had to cut out the bottom end part and then re-round for the second hole up to get it to the same length as the stock servo horn. Otherwise it was too long of a horn to go on this truck, but I got it done, and it just has just enough clearance, just like the stock one did. So that actually kind of works out really great that way. I'm really liking that. Steering radius on this is about typical to an SCX-10 as well. So it's not major, it's not a TRX or a Red Cat Gen 8 or Gen 7, so you're not going to get 45-degree steering. But hey, you know what? Everything can be modded, right? So we can find ways to get more steering out of this, I'm sure. However, it is definitely over-geared with that 87-tooth spur and 18-tooth pinion. So the truck really is not a crawler. Out of the box, I'd say it's more like a trail truck, but light crawling, very light crawling. It doesn't do so well. So if you watch my video from the Cove today, you'll get a bit of an idea on how sucky this thing can be. And then go look at some of my other videos on other RCs I've owned for crawlers, including my Deadbolt SCX-10 and my new TRX, and you can kind of get an idea of how crappy this thing really does do on rocks right now. Okay, when I am done with this truck, it will be even better than even my Deadbolt was, and I'll still have a lot less money into it, because even when I bought my Deadbolt, I think it was either $319 or something. It was actually a good price, but they're now $399 because being an SCX-10 2 Deadbolt, it starts out at $399 as their cheapest ready-to-run truck in Canada from Axial. But anyway, waterproof is a big bonus on this truck. Everything is waterproof, so you don't have to worry about, you can go drive in the lake, ponds, wherever, you know, throw it over the boat, use it for a little fishing boat, I don't know, whatever you want to do. It's going to be fine. It's all waterproof, okay? So you don't have to worry about getting it wet or full of mud. Hose it off later and away you go. It's all clean again. As far as trail truck performance goes, though, it does actually really well, except that it still needs to be lowered, because with the chassis being high up, and this is the one thing I get so tired of hearing, is guys are blaming bodies for being a top-heavy problem, okay? Lexan weighs nothing, okay? Where the big problem is short wheelbase will make anything tipsy, and being too freaking tall up is going to make it even more tipsy, okay? And real vehicles are no different. I actually drove in a Isuzu Rodeo once, or Rodeo, and they give you a warning sticker right on the dashboard in big letters. Do not drive this truck past this speed in turning into sharp corners or you will roll the truck. Okay? Why is that? It's a vehicle. It shouldn't. It will. Okay? Because short wheelbase, actually, when it's too short this way, side to side, that's a stability issue. And I had a bit of a stability issue with that with my TRX4, but not so much anymore since I put the widening kit on. I probably won't do a widening kit on this thing unless I can actually find a much wider body, because already the wheels stick out, you know, proportionally nice though, they stick out. So I wouldn't want to make them any wider as far as stick out goes that way, but maybe a little bit wider tire itself, but just not a widening kit. You know, so that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm going to put bead locks on this, try different tires, super swampers. I'm going to also try out mudslingers. But in the winter, this is going to be my winter truck for doing some plowing with. I'm going to buy an actual plow for this thing and slammer on there, and this will be a plow truck for some of my videos this winter. And of course I'm going to do some bashing. You guys know I'm going to do bashing with this thing, pull donuts, whatever, you know, have all kinds of fun with it. Yeah, it was between this and going, oh, do I really want to spend, you know, $400? No, I don't. Do I want to spend $600 on the SCX-10 that I really would like? No, I don't. I want to try this first. Then I'll decide if I'm going to buy an axial or not. Well, buy another one. So anyhow, this truck will do what I need it to do. I still might, I might buy the SCX-10 to 2000, I think is a Cherokee or something. I've also been looking at the Blazer. I'm also looking at a Ventura truck as well, and it's kind of like, oh, so many bloody choices, you know, like, what do I buy? What do I buy, you know? But because of the platform this is actually mostly based upon and what it can have for adaptability from different brands of other RCs already, this is actually a really good platform to build on. Okay, for 235 Canadian, you can make this thing better than any ready-to-run axial SCX-10 series and still spend less than the average brand new one. You'll spend less money. Depending on where you shop, though, that's the thing. And whether or not you're one of these people that want the King shocks, or if you want the King clone shocks, okay, it's a choice. They're the same bloody shocks, okay? They really are, just you're paying for a name on one, you know, most of the time. But these shocks certainly suck. So, here's where we get to the brutality. Servo horn, absolute garbage. Is it a crawler? Not on your life. It's a light duty crawler, if anything. This is going as the out of the box thing. Keep that in mind, guys, okay? It is way too fast for its own good. It's definitely overgeared. It definitely has way too high speed motor in it, or high turn rate of motor with that gearing. Hopefully with a 45 turn motor we can calm that down. If not, then we're going to start playing with the gearing after that. I want this thing to be calmed down pretty much to where my deadbolt was. Okay, when I threw in a 55 turn motor in it, it tamed that beast just perfect, whether it was on 2S or 3S. And most of the time I actually ran 3S in it. But this is going to run 2S because I'm also got the winch on here, which is 2S only, and I kind of want to wire it into the system here. So it's kind of like, you know. Anyhow, it's going to have some money dumped into it to make it more of a crawler trail truck combo that works well. Okay? But right now it works great as a trailer. It's got speed in it. You can have fun. It could be a great plow truck, just leaving it alone. other than the fact you definitely have to have better tires, that's for sure, and a little stiffer compound. You're going to need that, because these would not have traction worth of beans on snow, really. So there's some things to consider there. If you're looking at buying this as a platform to build on, definitely 4 out of 5 stars. But I'm sticking it at 3 out of 5 because it is not what it's marketed as at all, okay, as far as being a crawler, okay. And it's not technically, well, it's kind of a trail truck. It is kind of a trail truck, really, but it's definitely not a crawler. Not the way it is out of the box. So you got 3 out of 5 versus 4 out of 5. Take it from there. Financially, though, $235. It's worth it. The radio is great, by the way. It does chew up 8 batteries, but these 8 batteries will last you a long time if you're using Duracell or Energizers. Throttle trim control on this can actually be utilized as a cruise control, which is nice if you're lazy like me sometimes. Dual rate, so that tells you how much steering you get or don't get. Of course, steering trim. This thing drives dead straight on the nail, okay, which is actually pretty good. I don't really have to barely even move the steering trim at all. You do have throttle and steering reverse as well. You can reverse those. Some people like to do things completely backwards, and that's fine. That's up to them. I kind of like doing things the normal way. But yeah, the quality of the bumpers on this, and the bumper mounts and the bracings for the bumper to go into the mount, very strong, okay, for the stock parts. You know, I just kind of wanted this stuff because I wanted a winch, and it's not practical at this point in the game to even think about trying to even install a winch on the stock bumper, because I also don't really care for the stock bumper at all on this thing, but that's the way it goes. Besides, I bought it knowing that I'd be doing some upgrades, and I kind of suspected the suspension, and I was definitely right. Definitely needs that looked after too. So anyway, if you guys have any questions otherwise, feel free to ask. You know, I always do the best I can to answer them. If I don't have an answer right away, I'll find it, and then I'll give it to you at that point if I find something. But otherwise, yeah, stay tuned for more. I got a couple of new trucks coming, like I said, this week. So it'll be a surprise for you. I already know what I'm getting. You guys just gotta wait. Among other goodies I got coming in too. I got a few other parcels coming in, and I do have to order a few other little things for the TRX, and then I'm kind of done with that for a while, because I got to start saving up for a big 110 Summit again. I kind of missed the Summit, so I want to save up for one of those. That's going to take priority. Plus, I want a Kyosho Blizzard FR again, but you know, it's the way things go. Sometimes we get rid of stuff and then we don't think about it till later and go, man, was that ever dumb? Now I got to go buy it again. But this time when I buy the Blizzard, it's getting metal tracks put on it, among other things. It's actually going to have a winch system, and I'm getting real addicted to these wireless winches too. I don't know why. They're so much fun. But anyways, guys, so that's the HSP Boxer review for you guys. Stay tuned as I get things dialed in better on this. You will see more running footage at that time. So like I said, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to get updates, and you'll see more running footage of this and my other RCs too. And we're going to have a real blast this year with RCing. Even next year, I'm sure we're going to have a blast as well, doing a lot of RCing in the next couple of years straight. So my RC fans, thank you for your patience, especially for those of you who did hang out on the channel and didn't get upset. You know, but I'm back. All right, catch you later. Thanks for watching. Ciao.